books, room and board, whatever the reason. Knowledge, independence, opportunity. Western Union, moving money for better.
Good morning again, everyone. We're just about ready to jump inside the room this morning, the ladies' room. And of course, like I said, we've got a very special guest with us this morning. Yesterday, we would have spoken to Oslin Crosby from NADMA. And of course, a lot of information was disseminated in terms of how we can assist our friends in St. Vincent. And before we speak with the Prime Minister's press secretary this morning, let me just quickly remind you again about how you can assist and how you can be part of this as well. All right, so just giving you guys a couple seconds to come on into the room quickly and join us. And remember, as soon as you come onto the live, you can hit the share button and we'll get the show on the road. But in the meantime, let me just again remind you that NADMA is making an urgent call to the public to assist the citizens of St. Vincent and the Grenadines with water in their time of need. In addition to the urgent request for water, the following items are also needed: water tanks 800 and 1,000 gallons, buckets, folding cots, portable potties, blankets, field tents, field kitchens, sleeping mats, respiratory mask, reflective vests, caution tapes, hygiene kits, disinfectants, liquid soap, as well as non-perishable items, canned food, good food, etc. All right, so let us lend a helping hand to assist the citizens of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Of course, remember when we had our share of Ivan, they assisted, so it's nothing now for us to return the favor. All right, so for additional information and to make donations, remember you can call 440-8390-8391 or 8392-4400-838 or 533-0733 or email nadma@spicel.com and nadmapr@gmail.com. And also a reminder that the collection point is the SSU camp for now. Soon as other locations become available, we will let you know, but you can drop off your items for now at the SSU camp and they will sort it out and of course have it sent on its way to St. Vincent. So again, everyone, good morning and welcome. Good morning, Sehon Marshall. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Aruna. I'm well. Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. Well, it's good to see a smiling face this morning. For the past couple of days, it has been, you would swear we were actually in St. Vincent, the tension on the ground in Grenada and, the concern and everything. They say when one person goes to something, another island goes to something, everybody practically, we're in the same boat because we're so connected. We've got friends, we've got family, we're connected in so many ways that it definitely touched us. But we want to know what's happening from your end. How are you? How are you doing?
First of all, Aruna, I may not be in the shoes of my boss. You're very good friend, but I'm with this this morning. He's having a pretty hectic morning. He's having calls with different leaders and individuals in the global community. So I've been trying to get him, but he has given me his word that he will speak with you. So you can expect him to come on sometime. I like most Vincent. I am well in good spirits. There are almost 4,000 Vincentians displaced in shelters. That does not include the number of individuals in private homes with families and friends and so forth. And these are individuals who have had to just pick something up at a moment's notice and run. As those circumstances are, as I've just outlined, they are trying to make the best of the situation that are less than ideal. Just this morning, we had another explosion of the lucifer spewing more ash into the sky. Yesterday, we were having some pyroclastic flows, and you were seeing images, videos of mud flows, hot mud flows down both the eastern and western, northeastern, northwestern coastline, so that whenever we think, okay, there's a period of calm, there's a period of quiet,
Mhm.
and we're using that moment to try and calm our anxieties, something happens that awakens it. And so it's a bit of a roller coaster, and so we just have to be there for each other as we are all in this boat together. But what is heartwarming is the fact that the extension of Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, the Grenada and Saint Lucia and Barbados, the number of posts and statuses that you would see. Everybody is out there, prefer St. Vincent, we are St. Vincent, and so forth. It is heartwarming knowing that everybody is there with us, providing support with us, for us, empathizing with us. It really feels good, to see our brothers and sisters standing up with us like you are.
You are so welcome. And I know it must be a traumatic experience indeed. What is the mood like on the ground, as we speak amongst Vincentians?
Right now, there is, as you would suspect, a slowdown of activity. Where the government is concerned, non-essential workers are asked to stay at home. A number of stores may be closed or have skeletal staff. One of the reasons for that naturally would be because of the dust on the ground. And so as traffic flows that goes by, dust is kicked up. So you really wouldn't want to open your street front store for something like that. The town is much better now. It's a lot clearer in terms of the dust on the ground. But as you go a bit further north, you're seeing that still very, very heavy dust on the ground. So there is very minimal activity going on. Individuals are concerned or more focused on relief efforts, assisting in the shelters. There are a number of individuals who aren't necessarily attached to the National Emergency Management Organization, but they're spending their days going from shelter to shelter, seeing what they can do, seeing how they can assist. So there is a mood of cooperation. Um, among Vincentians, even though we are in a state of sadness because of the tragedy that we are all experiencing, there is this cooperation. We are trying to lift each other up. We are trying to build each other, and I think somehow we are looking forward. People are already looking forward for the rebuilding. It's amazing. This morning when the explosion happened, a colleague of mine said, "I thought it was finished," and I said, "You the scientists said this may go on for weeks, even months. So you're being a bit premature thinking that it's finished." But um, I took a drive a bit up north yesterday to try and have an assessment for myself. The Prime Minister went somewhere northeast, some northwest. He went as far up in his constituency on Sunday to get a sense of what things are,
Mhm.
where things are. A significant discover, and the impact of that for agriculture, because as you go further north, further rural, you have greater
Yes,
reliance on
I saw
agriculture.
tomatoes and coconut
Yes,
trees and banana trees
everything.
and everything.
So whatever is in the ground is done because the ashes covered it up, and so forth. I spoke to a farmer yesterday. He said everything I had is gone, but thank God, I'm able to. I have life, so I can replant. So
Mhm.
you're hearing those sentiments as individuals come to grips with where things are now, but look forward to where things can be and will be in the upcoming months.
The beautiful thing about it is we are so resilient, and it takes, it's unfortunate that it takes, disasters and stuff like that to really show what we're made of. So I don't think we're worried about rebuilding and stuff like that, but just about taking care of the immediate needs of your Vincentian brothers and sisters, our Vincentian brothers and sisters, as a matter of fact, just to deal with the immediate needs. So I want to speak a little on that, but before I do, in terms of the areas that was designated as red areas and what have you, everybody has been out of those areas. Everybody taken out of those areas. Are you aware of?
I would love to say yes, but up
Mhm.
until yesterday afternoon, there were still a few stubborn individuals who felt that they can tough it out, they can stay, they aren't moving. I know just yesterday afternoon, the Coast Guard went up on northeastern side to try and move individuals out of one of the communities called Oya, because the day before they had gone, they met individuals
Are
there who
they
said,
like
"We're not
older
moving."
older folks? older
I,
folks like who probably.
strange enough, there are some young able-bodied folks as well who think that I'm strong enough to tough this out. I'm resilient, I'm strong, and I can tough this out, and it's really advised against because it's not just the ash and the ash cover, which through inhalation can be very dangerous. But now there are pyroclastic flows, and these things kill anything in their path, vegetation, livestock, human, anything in their path. And so the advice still is get out. I saw I saw a live on Facebook this morning. I'm from the red zone. I don't live there anymore, but I'm from there. And this morning I'm looking at Facebook, and there's a gentleman from my community on the northwestern side who is there, and he's saying he's not moving, and he's doing live every morning and talking about the town and giving up an overview of the town, but he's still there. I don't know how many more like him there are in that town of Chateaubriand on the northwestern side, but I believe that there are still a few very stubborn individuals who are ignoring the calls of the exports and staying in the red zones, red and orange zones, which at this point has become extremely dangerous.
And that's a conversation I had with my guest yesterday from NADMA, because of those folks don't realize that you're also endangering, the other folks who will have to come in to get you out, they're putting them
Absolutely,
in harm's way as well. So it's not only
absolutely.
yourself you don't want to leave, you're also, putting other lives at risk, because I saw videos and pictures of areas you would swear, it was snowing in St. Vincent, and some roads you
Absolutely.
don't know where it starts, where it ends, because it's covered so thickly. So I really hope that those persons would get out, and just so you can concentrate on taking care of them in another
But
in another area.
added to that as well, just before you move on, though, because there is also the issue of individuals venturing back into those zones, whether it is to get a glimpse of what it looks like, or to pick up, this or that item that they left. That's also strongly advised against. You really should not be going back into the red or orange zone once you've left, once you've evacuated. There's not much to see. Believe you me, when it's all done, it will be the same as it is today, and you'll get to see exactly what it is. So there's really no need for anyone who has been evacuated out of those danger zones to go back into the danger zones now, just for sightseeing or to collect anything that was left.
I totally agree. Now we've got a number of folks in the shelters. Approximately how many are we working with in the different shelters?
I would think by now between 38 and 4,000, 3,800 and 4,000 individuals in the shelters. A number of schools, learning resource centers, churches have all been activated in the green zones, to house individuals. So it's this, and that's not just schools, because one of the things that the government did as well, the National Emergency Management Organization, they also ensure that certain category of individuals, the very elderly, the disabled, the young children, pregnant mothers, and so forth, are being housed at hotels or guest houses in in
Wonderful.
in shelters that are not as quote unquote rugged as maybe a school or a church or a community center, and because
Good.
those shelters may not be conducive for someone who's very 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 ill or immobile because of a disability or something. So you have all of those situations. The volunteers are doing their best. We know that there may be some disparity in terms of the resources and so forth, and management style at different shelters, but in these circumstances, we are doing our best to ensure that individuals in the shelters are being taken care of, are being to the best of our ability, and other individuals outside of the formal system are also assisting by contributing things, supplies to those shelters.
I could imagine it will be uncomfortable, but of course, I hope folks understand the situation, because we've got two. We're dealing with COVID, plus we're dealing with this now, so it must be a bit more crazier than usual. But what are some of the immediate needs of those persons in the different shelters?
Immediately, water jumps to mind. And one of the reasons for that is because, as fate would have it, the ashfall is making it difficult for the water authority to capture water, to harvest water from the rivers.
Mhm.
The manager of the water authority was saying yesterday on a program that what you have coming, based on the suspension that has been created with the ash and the water, is something like split pea soup. It's a thick slush. So
Yeah.
there's not much capturing and harvesting that can be done. And so what has been happening is the authority has been using the stored supply of water since the eruption that is finite and has been depleted significantly. So we've
Mhm.
had chronic water shortages throughout the country, and there has been rationing of water for the basic, for even the most basic purposes, domestic purposes.
Mhm.
What we've had over the last 2 days though, is the transportation of water by trucks. So the authority is able to harvest water from wells, different places, fill up tanks on trucks and transport to the various shelters. But water is a necessity that's in short supply. And so just yesterday, the cabinet of St. Vincent and the Grenadines waived all import duties on water so as to ensure that those who are importing water can do so easily and resell them at a reasonable rate. Make sure the water is cheap and available. And countries like yours, I know Mikey, one of your journalists there in Grenada, has been very involved in a water drive. The Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela sent a ship with water containing, among other things, water. Yesterday we received it, and other countries, Trinidad and Tobago, other countries are sending supplies to us, and water is one of the top priorities that they're sending. Then, of course, there are other supplies. There are individuals who moved with infants, so infant supplies, uh, you know, um, disposable diapers and so forth, things that are in need as well at those shelters. Um, so I mean, we've all been here at one point or other, whether it's Ivan for you or different countries. Dominica had it the other day. Antigua had it the other day. It's one of the curious things about our region, Arona. We had all of these years of slavery and forced labor, and then when we are dropped, we've never been able to build, because at every time, at every juncture at our development, something hits, a hurricane, a volcano, and we always have to be starting from scratch. It seems that we can never catch a break as the
Yes.
term is
But at the
in this region.
forefront of all of this is our
Always,
resilience.
always, we at the
Because
forefront of everything.
when we experienced Ivan and we saw the devastation, we literally was like, no, this is it. We're over. We're done with. I mean,
Yes,
that was
yes,
like the first couple of days. And then after you were, we got to clean up. We got to start moving.
and we
And
got
look
to go
where
all
we
over
are
again.
now. And if
Exactly.
you didn't know, you would swear we never had
We never had
uh,
Ivan, exactly.
Ivan. And I'm sure that will be the case for Vincentian pretty soon. We know how to persevere in the Caribbean. That's one
We
thing.
have no
I
choice. We have
mean,
no choice.
and we have to keep on forging ahead. In terms of the persons wanting to leave, is that something you're seeing a lot of, or persons are contented to stay put and be taken care of in the different shelters?
There has not been the desire to move, to leave, as
Mhm.
as we thought there might have been, for
Okay.
whatever reason. I guess people want to stay home. They want to be close to home, and
Comfort.
and I guess that is borne out by the reality that once there's a calm, someone thinks that, let me go and see what's happening with my livestock. Let me go and see what's happening with my property. If you move to Grenada, or if you move to Saint Lucia, you wouldn't be able to run up and take a look. Um, and so I guess they're not as willing to expand the displacement beyond St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So we've not had that. So it appears that they're comfortable, well, or rather content, not comfortable, but content to stay in the shelters, tough it out for the next couple of weeks, maybe months. Maybe also there's a possibility that it hasn't dawned on them that it may be as long as it will be.
Yes.
And so maybe the expectation is, I don't need to go
I think
anywhere
a lot of
because
people still comparing this to like a hurricane situation.
yes, yes,
Some
yes.
two,
So
3 days and
in
then
another week or two, I'll be back home. So let me not take up the offer to travel to be evacuate the island, and then maybe you never know. Maybe another 3-4 weeks when it dawns on them that, wait, you're going to be here for a month or 2 or 3. Their desire may well change, but as of now, there isn't that overt desire to evacuate beyond our shores.
Well, we can definitely say thank you to technology, because thanks to technology, we would probably, without that, we would be seeing and having a different conversation this morning, because compared to the last eruption and having had lives lost, this time you can say something different, because of course we had our scientists. And I mean, we can't stop saying thank you and kudos to those guys who've been on the ball from the with that. Something is amiss here at La Sofria. Let's check on this. They've
Yeah.
been on it. So, what would you say are you most thankful for?
The precision of the exports, Dr. Robertson and his team has
Oh,
just
he
been
deserves
amazing.
a medal. Mhm.
They've been on the ball. They have. Um, let's look, for example, on the Thursday. By the morning, when Dr. Gonsalves updated the nation at about 10:30, 11, he spoke with Dr. Robertson. Dr. Robertson said, right now there has been a change in activity, but there's nothing that is showing an imminent explosion just yet. So there's no need for an evacuation order, but people should be prepared. They should be in a heightened state of preparation because it can happen. By the afternoon, that had changed, and he said, "Look, there has been significant changes during that couple of hour period, and so I would recommend an evacuation because this can blow within 24 to 48 hours." As a matter of fact, he was saying that the order should be given at this point and not later, because there is no guarantee that anything can would be held back. The volcano can activate before. So the order was given with his advice, and by 14, 15 hours the next morning, you had the explosion. Maybe 18 hours. So I mean, there was real precision with which they've been covering the volcano, and since then, everything from the ashfall to the pyroclastic flows, it's just been on schedule. It's just been on schedule. I wish I had Dr. Robertson telling me what my career would be like a few years ago. I probably would, you know. But he has really been good, and we have the country has owes a debt of gratitude to Dr. Robertson for the work that they've done, to the Seismic Research Center for the work that they've done for us in preparing us for where we are now. And that I have to link the fact that just recently the government of St. Vincent and Grenadines passed a bill, by increase. There was an increase of over 1 percentage point of a tax, to fund these type of agencies, because we understand how important these agencies are. So that this particular money is going to be ring rolls, so that it doesn't go to anything else but to pay those dues for those agencies that have proven to be so critical for us during times like these. It's really it takes these type of things for you to recognize how important they are. And I'm really thankful that St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I've seen individuals on Facebook recommend that Dr. Robertson be given a knighthood or an
Yes,
MBE for the
you.
work that he's done.
I
It's
think we're
really
all
it's
for
really
it.
been fantastic.
We're
It's really
all
been
for it.
fantastic. It's
He
really
has
been
been
fantastic.
definitely been fantastic. Now, in terms of someone asked us a question a while ago. In terms of children in the shelters and additional counseling and therapy, because like I said, this is not an easy thing to deal with. Imagine as an adult, experiencing this now as a child, having to go through this, leaving the comfort of your home, and all you've been told, we got to move bag, little bag on back, and there you are in a shelter surrounded by adults and other strangers. Are there additional support being provided to the shelters in that regard?
I've heard that discussion been mentioned by various shelter managers who are also principals of some of the schools, that they are engaging their counselors at the schools to provide that type of support for family members or children who may be impacted. I also saw one of the sporting associations here, the table tennis associations, giving table tennis rackets and balls to shelters so that the children can play, have some form of recreation, because that is important as well. So yes, that's a discussion that is ongoing. That is not something that is being ignored, because we know the impact that this can have, from the trauma of the hurricane itself to the impact of the display of the volcanic eruption, sorry, the volcanic eruption itself, to the impact of being away from home and being among strangers in a new environment. It can all have a serious toll on the mental health of children, and so yes, that is something that is being considered and taken not taken lightly, but acting there's significant and real things being put in place to deal with that.
Wonderful. Well, that was one of my concerns. Someone else also had the concern. They were asking about what about the animals. They were seeing a lot of dogs and what have you in the streets after folks that have evacuated just left. What about those? Were there anyone like getting them off the streets after, or were they just left to fend for themselves?
That is something that you hear the farmers talking about, because the a lot of them left livestock back in those red and orange zones, and so it's before the pyroclastic flow, you had the reality that if they weren't properly taken care of, putting a pen somewhere with some food and so forth, they would be outside, and now the ash is covering everything. They may not have things to eat, and they may not have water. So that's a challenge. Now that you have pyroclastic flows, if they were left out in the open, chances are that they could have been killed as well by the flow. So it's not just domesticated pets like dogs and cats, but
That's
also livestock, sheep, goat,
good.
cattle. I was making this point just last night on another program, that my brother, who's in the red zone, he left against advice 2 days ago to go back to the red zone to check on it on the cows that he has. He had secured them somewhat, so he went try and get them some water and get them some fresh food. So that is a concern. That is a significant concern, not just, as I said, not just for individuals with pets left at home, but also for farmers with livestock. Some of them were able to move their livestock uh, to the green zone ahead of time, but I don't think everyone was that fortunate and were able to do that.
Okay. Well, I hope that's something that I'll look into as well. But like I said, looking forward to talking with my comrade as soon as he's ready. Of course, you know where to find us. Looking forward to that. But there's a lot of questions that we need to ask him that I wouldn't be able to ask you, but you
That's
still
that's fine. I'm fully aware of that.
job of keeping us in the loop. So I want to thank you so much for that. Anything else though, Sion, that you want to touch on? Probably I didn't ask in terms of any additional help that we can provide and how we can go about doing it.
Well, just to thank you. We've had, as you've said, and I get the impression that the Grenadians are following. They know what's happening. The technology is there. I may be repeating a lot of things for individuals who see these things on Facebook already, but so they know. But the way that the solidarity has been expressed, it's just been remarkable. And I tell you something. Sometimes I remember just recently, last year, for song bites and for news clippings and for likes and so forth, journalists here, and I'm sure they were making a big thing out of those wars between Dr. Gonzalez and Dr. Mitchell. Um, but I was at the meeting of the National Emergency Management Council when
Mhm.
Dr. Mitchell called Dr. Gonsalves, and his words were, "I am here at your service."
Oh,
And Dr. Gonsalves said, "You've just been co-opted into the National Emergency Management Council of St. Vincent and the Grenadines," and he said, "Anything you want." And he heard the expressions of love between those two gentlemen. And I remember after the call ended, Minister Gonsalves said, "You hear those two? You hear those two who've been cussing the other day? Listen to the love between them."
That's why I stay out of it.
Absolutely.
They're grown men to handle their stuff.
That's the point. I know in St. I remember I was on radio and I was making the point then that in St. Vincent we have a saying, cockroach has no call in foul party. I think Gwynedd has a different way of saying the same thing. A friend of mine did mention to me, but I can't remember what you said. But the truth is, the solidarity between the people of this region, from leaders all the way down, is something that's unbreakable. It's everlasting, and I never question it. And as you said, it's times like these that comes out and comes to the fore, and it shows that we really want people.
Sometimes we need those little reminders, huh? Sometimes we get
Absolutely.
comfortable and complacent. And we just need that little nudge. Unfortunately, folks get displaced in the process. But like I said, we're resilient people. So I know Vincentians will definitely be back and better at it. And I just want to commend some of the folks that I'm seeing around volunteering, Skinny Fabulous and other guys following their posting and what have you, going around to the different shelters and lending their time. Well done indeed, and it's if you can help, by all means, go right ahead and do that. So it's a good place to start.
They've been magnificent. We've just been, people have just, dropped what they're doing and just been out there assisting because we understand the gravity of the times that we're in. And so people have just been really, there's just been a really great outpouring of solidarity at home, but also from other member states in the region.
Wonderful. Alrighty then. Well, I'll let you run because I know you guys have some busy days and moments ahead of you. So just thanks so much for checking in. And like I said, looking forward to checking in with my comrade soon. So
I would let him know.
best wishes as well.
Maybe when I tell him I spent half of the morning with you, he would decide, no, I have to deal with that. I can't allow that to happen.
So please share our love and of course support with him. And I'm looking forward to having you guys back anytime. Feel free. We're here to
Thank you so much for having me.
You are
Thank
so
you so much,
welcome.
everyone.
Thanks
All
so
right,
much.
take care.
All righty,
Bye-bye.
take care. Okay, dokes, and that's about it for our room this morning. Thank you so much, Sehon, and we are definitely looking forward to having you back and having Dr. Gonsalves in the room at some point. He will be here to give us more information. All right, but Sehon was just touching base a little bit to let us know what's happening over there. Thanks so much, everyone who were present in the room this morning. Looking forward to having you guys back tomorrow, same time, same place. And of course, the ladies' room came to you through the kind compliments of Beacon Insurance and Western Union. Have a good Tuesday, y'all. Catch you tomorrow, same time, same place.